Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to begin our ceremony. No, it's all right. Could I ask everybody to please rise? Sergeant of Arms, post colors.
Free your hands, stand at attention, place your right hand over your heart or render the appropriate salute, and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We have our invocation by our BVC chaplain, Bert Tremblay.
Uncover. Almighty Father, we thank you for so many things, above all our great United States, in your spiritual blessings. Help us not to take them for granted. Many of our men and women have sacrificed their lives and their health to preserve the freedoms of our nation. May their efforts not have been in vain. Help us to daily reflect on all that we have to be thankful for and to praise you daily in our prayers for being so good to all of us. Amen. Cover.
At this time, we'll have greetings from the town of Braintree from Mayor Charles Kokoris.
Good morning. I first would like to welcome all of our veterans and thank them for their service. And if this time anyone that can stand of our veterans out in the audience, please stand so we can recognize you for your service. Thank you for your service. It's wonderful to see so many people here in attendance this morning to celebrate our veterans here in Braintree. Special thanks to Veterans Agent Vincent Fontaine and Mary Ficacello. You think that would be the more difficult name, but they put this together, and they've done a great job, so thank you both. I'd like to start off by thanking all the post commanders that make all of our veterans groups so vibrant and keep things going on behalf of the veterans in our town. And from the Braintree Veterans Council Post Commander Pedro Vidal, from the DAV Chapter 29 Post Commander Edward Jordan, from the VFW Post 1702, Post Commander Robert Williams, and from the American Legion Post 86, Post Commander John Bourne. We have a number of town officials that are here today, and we appreciate them being part of this ceremony and understanding how important it is to support our veterans. One of the veterans' biggest allies, Congressman Stephen Lynch, had reached out to me and wished he could be here, but sends his best wishes, as well as Walter Timothy, who had come by earlier today, and John Keenan. We also had DA Michael Morrissey and Town Council President Shannon Hume, and there are a number of councilors here as well. Superintendent Jim Lee, School Committee Chair Tom Devon, and the members of the school committee. And last but not least, one of our favorite, Ann Tolan, and the members of the Library Board of Trust. Thank you. Today we pay tribute to our veterans and honor their service and all that they have done to ensure our freedom. It is an honor to be the mayor of a community that has such an active veterans community and such active support by its residents. As I look around the room this morning at the veterans who have assembled, I am reminded of the selflessness our veterans have shown, which remains embedded in your character long after you have finished your active service. You have honorably served our country, and you can continue to honorably serve our community without hesitation. Here in our town, we are blessed and privileged to have veterans serving as firefighters, police officers, EMTs, educators, DPW employees, healthcare professionals, community volunteers, and elected officials, just to highlight a few. But veterans are represented in every organization and professional workplace in our community. They are our lifeline. No matter what career path a veteran takes, they bring strength, character, and commitment to everything that they do. They truly live a lifetime of service. Veterans take an oath to serve our nation and put their lives on the line for our freedom. We, in turn, shall pledge to our veterans to honor and respect them for what they have given us. Our town is here to support our veterans and give them the opportunities they deserve. We shall continue to support them through educational and employment opportunities, housing and health care services, and ensure that we have not and will not forget their service to our country. Let us remember today and every day that our commitment is not only to our veterans, but also to their families. The burden they bear is heavy. We are indebted to the wives and husbands, the mothers and fathers, the brothers and sisters, the sons and daughters of those who have served and who are still serving. We appreciate all the sacrifices that you have had to make and continue to make. We are always here to support you. We celebrate the service of our veterans not only today, but every day in the town of Braintree. Please take the time today to stop and let a veteran know how much you appreciate what they have done for our nation, our community, with a simple gesture. Thank you for your service. May God bless the town of Braintree, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the United States of America. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker. Our guest speaker today is Chief Warrant Officer 3, John Pelouse. John served 31 years in the United States Army and Army Reserve, including a tour of duty in Vietnam. John has done countless hours volunteering to support servicemen and their families since his retirement. John has been commander of the BVC, American Legion Post 86. He is now currently the adjutant of Post 86. John is a true patriot. His dedication to helping veterans of Braintree is commendable and honorable. John Pelouse.
Thank you very much for being here, and I appreciate the warm introduction. My fellow veterans, friends, and neighbors, I'm very honored today to be your guest speaker at the Veterans Day Ceremonies 2021. First observed in November 11th, 1919 as America's Armistice Day, making the anniversary of World War I. It became a federal holiday in 1938, and in 1954, it was renamed Veterans Day to honor the nearly 20 million men and women who have served our nation. In my remarks today, I'm going to deliver a couple very important but ways that you, as a general public and veterans, can show appreciation and honor to our veterans based on my experience as in the military, but also my military volunteer support experience. First of all, as the mayor just recently pointed out, saying thank you for your service is generally appreciated by service members and veterans. Whether it's spoken, written, or lately on social media, it's very much appreciated. As a Vietnam veteran, I can remember a time during the Vietnam War, which serving your country and some citizens of the United States took out their hostility for the war or opposition to the war to the men and women who were asked to serve in that particular war. Since Operation Desert Storm, Desert Shield, there's been a dramatic change in the attitudes of most members of our nation. They are able now to separate, knowing what the policy of the United States is, and honoring the service member who was asked to fight in any particular conflict. And that, I find, is a very, very refreshing change. So again, If someone says, as a veteran, I very much appreciate it. Another thing that I ask for people can do, suggestions are, they can volunteer or donate to a military nonprofit. One of the present-day organizations that supports veterans and service members is the United Service Organization, commonly known as the USO. Also, too, a number of veterans organizations. There are also here on the South Shore a number of small nonprofits that have done quite a bit for our service members. I work with Care Packs of Weymouth. That particular organization sends, they send care packages from home. Over 30,000 packages have been shipped to our troops overseas. Another organization which I've worked with is GI Ginger Betty Foundation of Quincy. She makes gingerbread treats and sends them to service members overseas and also to their families here at home. Another thing that I ask about people donating to veterans charities is please check them out on Charity Navigator to make sure that what they say they're collecting for veterans or service members, that a good percentage goes to service members, not to the organization's own pocket. Another thing personally which you can do is send cards, letters, and packages to deployed members overseas. These small gifts are very much appreciated. I personally have sent Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and complete with cups, and I'll tell you, our troops really like that, a good taste of home. This is also for someone who happens to be a business owner, a hiring manager, or possibly a person who has influence about making hiring decisions. Consider hiring veterans and members of the Guard and Reserve to your staff. These individuals make very good employees. They know something about being on time all the time. They know something about having the can-do attitude, assuming responsibility, and showing leadership, to name a few of the qualities. Another thing that you can do, which you're doing right now, is attending patriotic events, like beside Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, and other patriotic events. Your presence is important as a way of showing respect for our nation, but also those who serve our nation. When attending these events, I think it's very important to try to understand some of the protocols. When our national flag is entering or leaving the stage, or passing in formation, or during the playing of our national anthem, place your right hand over your heart. Another suggestion is consider displaying the American flag at your home. Showing the flag, make sure that the flag is in serviceable condition, and also, too, if it is not, you can dispose of the flag at two locations we have here in Braintree. One is at the American Legion, and the other is at the Department of Elder Affairs / Veteran Service Office on Cleveland Avenue. Veterans have a great respect for the flag. Ask service members or veterans about their time in the military service, which branch they served in. Also to ask them what was their military occupational specialty, better known as MOS. Where were they stationed? You'd be pleasantly surprised by the information received. Now I'd like to address my fellow veterans and service members. I strongly urge you to join one of the national veterans organizations, the one that you possibly feel comfortable with. These organizations on the national level represent the interests of all veterans. If you've ever used the GI Bill, the 9/11 bill, the GI Home Loan, or received care at a VA hospital, or received improved service-connected disability compensation, thank these organizations. These organizations keep members informed about pending legislation, veterans issues, and the status of the Veterans Affairs Department. More importantly, they hold our elected leaders at both the state and federal level accountable for improved quality care and reasonable benefits. On the local level, these groups, organizations, have done quite a bit in our community. Our local veterans groups are transitioning, trying to stay relevant in a very changing and challenging time. They are not the organizations of previous generations. A next thing, which I also find is very important, especially a number of times which I brief service members and their families, it's usually the family member that's listening. And one of the most important things that is the military form, Department of Defense Form DD-214. And A number of times, this is the key for your military benefits. And a number of times that service members, when they get out, they lose the form. However, here in Braintree, that we have a veteran service officer, and most cities and towns have a veteran service officer. Also, in my remarks, will be known as the VSO. They can quickly get that form to you. And that is a form that also unlocks all the benefits. So if nothing else in my talk today, go home and find out to make sure that if you're a veteran, my fellow veterans, you know where the DD-14 is, and please tell someone where it is. Another source, a resource for my fellow veterans is the Department of Veterans Affairs. They were formerly called the Veterans Administration, or as we call the VA. They're trying to get the word out, especially nowadays, about veterans being in crisis or a family member knowing about a veteran being in crisis. And they have a hotline that I want to publish here. It's called the Veterans Crisis Line. It's 1-800-273-8255, or if you're into texting, 838255. You'll connect with a qualified responder from the VA. Many are veterans themselves. The support is free, confidential, and available 24/7. The line serves veterans, active duty and reserve, and their families. No matter what you're experiencing, there is help, there is support. Also, as a veteran, be willing to talk about your service. There's a number of different ways that you can do it. It could be speaking in the high school classroom. Recently, yesterday, with a number of my fellow veterans, we were at Braintree High School talking about our military service. Also, you could be interviewed for a school project. The South Middle School has a great school project interviewing veterans. You also could share your story on Braintree Cable Media Access, BCAM. There's a number of great stories on there from our fellow veterans in Braintree, especially listening to some of our veterans who have passed on. They really have tremendous stories about their service. Also, too, that you can contact the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. Each service member has a very different and unique story. Also, keep in mind, my fellow veterans, you have a tremendous effect on the armed forces of the United States. Recent recruiting studies have shown that recruits are heavily influenced by family members and friends who have served our nation. Be honest and be clear about your military service. The Department of Defense's recent Defense Authorization Act of 2009 authorized veterans a lifetime privilege of saluting our flag. This privilege is extended to active duty members when not in uniform. You may now render a military hand salute during the playing of our national anthem and the raising and lowering of the national flag. This is a special something I would like to put out to the veterans of Afghanistan and Iraq. It's been a very recent rough time. First of all, to these veterans, be very proud of your service. You did a challenging and sacrificing, you did challenging work and sacrifices are appreciated by our nation. You did not get to choose the mission. You did not get to choose our allies or partners. Sometimes our allies and partners cannot and did not live up to the challenge. You did what your nation asked you to do. You had the support of the American people. Finally, we must always remember the service and sacrifice of our veterans. We must appreciate their service to our nation. God bless our veterans. God bless you for being here today, and God bless the United States of America.
At this time, we were going to have the Braintree High School Concert Chorus and Show Chorus sing a few songs for us. I'd actually like to thank them for being here today. I think it's amazing, the music you sing, and it's all yours. Well, that was amazing. So now we're going to change up our ceremony a little bit. Sitting down with the mayor, Mary and I, we wanted to recognize certain individuals in the community that have gone above and beyond helping veterans. So we have 3 different categories, and Mary will explain the category, and then we will announce the recipient of the award.
And I'm not going to take credit on this. This is all Vinny. Vinny comes up with ideas that are amazing. So every day I look forward to going to work because we both love veterans and we both love to take care of our veterans. So I also wanted to apologize if the little boy in the red sweatshirt was distracting you. I do want you to know that he does come from a family of veterans, and his dad actually did 2 tours over in Afghanistan, so he will someday be able to sit still. So the first award is Veteran of the Year, and this award is being presented to a veteran who has shown compassion, camaraderie, time, effort, hours of volunteerism, and putting the needs of veterans above his own, to help and improve other veterans' lives in the Braintree and in the community. And I'm honored to have the mayor announce that.
Thank you, Mary. This year's Veteran of the Year is Bert Tremblay. Bert.
So a couple weeks back, the American Legion, who has a coffee hour every Friday morning, I had shown up to, and I hadn't shaven. And if anybody knows Bert, he used to work for Gillette. So Bert actually was schooling me on shaving that day and telling me how to shave. And I found it quite interesting because I'm a sergeant in the military, retired, and Bert was a corporal, which usually you don't tell the sergeant. So I thought it was very interesting. So I'm going to get back at Bert today. So Bert, I've noticed that you've been cutting the grass at the American Legion, and you don't have your safety vest on. And we know in the military you need to have your safety vest on. So here you go, Bert.
Congratulations, Bert. Hi. The Veteran Organization of the Year. This award is being presented to a veterans organization that has demonstrated exemplary service to Braintree's veteran community and the surrounding communities. They're always there when you need them. If you need them, you call them, and they're there. And I'd like to have the mayor introduce to you the Veteran Organization of the Year.
Thank you, Mary. And that honor goes to the American Legion Post 86. If the commander would come forward.
So one of the reasons we gave this award to Post 86, in other words, they do a lot of volunteer hours. They do a lot in the cemeteries for Memorial Day, but one of the things they do is they do a coffee hour, which they have opened up the doors to any veteran to come on Friday mornings. And during the pandemic, they moved it to the parking lot just so we be safe and still be able to meet, because camaraderie is very important in the veteran community. So we want to thank Post 86 for doing that. Congratulations.
Okay, so this next award is in memory of my mother. It's the Alan M. Drogo Award. This award is going to an individual who has gone above and beyond helping the veterans in Braintree's community. This award is named after my mother, who passed away in 2013. My mother spent most of her life living the mission statement of making a difference in the lives of disabled veterans and their families. And I'd like to introduce the mayor to introduce the recipient, which I'm not privy to.
I'd like to have a guest speaker come up, please. Thank you.
Mayor Kokoris, distinguished guest, happy Veterans Day, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Angela Trulson, or Ficacello, depending on who you ask. If you've been a member of the Braintree community for a while, there's a good chance that you'll know my mom, Mary Ficacello, or Drogo, depending on who you ask. I was asked to speak a little bit about my mom today. In 1972, Frank Drogo Sr. and his wife, Ellen Drogo, moved from Brockton to Braintree with their 3 children, Donna, Mary, and Frank Jr. Frank Sr., a United States Navy veteran, joined the local chapter of the Disabled American Veterans, and Ellen joined the Disabled American Veterans Auxiliary, Braintree 29. They were both fine examples of what it means to serve veterans in the community. Okay, now back to my mom. During her time at Braintree High School, Mary was on the pep squad, the track team, the yearbook staff, the homecoming committee, the drama club, and the student government. She also served as the statistician for the boys soccer team, and along with that team, she was inducted into the Braintree High School Hall of Fame in 2018. Mary graduated from Braintree High School in 1977. I've been told that was a pretty big year. Former mayor of Braintree, Joe Sullivan, you also graduated that year, right? Yes, you did. Does anyone here today remember the old Zares in Braintree? Mary certainly does. That's where she first laid eyes on a handsome employee named Stephen Ficacello. Naturally, Mary struck up a conversation because, well, if you know my mom, that's just what she does. Frank Sr., although Stephen was a few years older than Mary, Frank Sr. allowed him to take his daughter on a date, thank goodness. After graduating high school, Mary went on to Massasoit Community College and landed a job working for New York Airlines. Her career was literally about to take off. When she broke the news to Stephen that she was going to be transferred to New York, he proposed. She said yes. Again, thank goodness. They were married in August of 1981. Together, they have 3 children, Angela, Frankie, and Gina. They also have 8 grandchildren, all which are here today. In 2001, at the age of 41, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. Since then, she has been a survivor and an advocate for breast cancer awareness. This year, on October 23rd, which also happens to be my grandmother, Ellen Drogo's birthday, we celebrated my mom being cancer-free for 20 years. The mission statement of the DAV Auxiliary is making a difference in the lives of disabled veterans and their families. This is not only a mission statement to Mary, it's also her passion. Mary has served as commander for the DAV Auxiliary Unit 29 in Braintree for nearly a decade. This past June at the DAVA State Convention, she was elected and installed as state commander. Together, we will not forget is the theme that Mary chose for her tenure as commander. And together, we will not forget. Mary spends her days working as the benefits administrator at the Veterans Service Office in Braintree, where she goes above and beyond to ensure that the veterans in our community are receiving the benefits they are so rightfully owed. She spends her evenings managing a family-owned restaurant and serving customers. So service is something in which she takes great pride. Mary will always be the first in line to volunteer to help veterans, their families, and the community, wherever and whenever needed. You know, when I was growing up, making my parents proud was so important to me. Now, being a parent myself, I understand what it feels like to want to make my own children proud. I hope I can one day make my kids as proud of me as my mom has made hers. Mom, you are a shining example to your children, to your grandchildren, to your family, and to the community. We are all so very proud of you, and I know your mom is too.
If you know Mary, that was a really tough secret to keep. It was very difficult. And, you know, as was alluded to, Mayor Sullivan is here today. Mayor Sullivan has been such an advocate for veterans and continues to be. And we thank him for the donations that he's made and the Purple Heart community sign out there. Mayor Sullivan, thank you for attending.
I just want to say we had to throw Mary off the path of who we were going to choose. So when the mayor stopped by, I struck up a conversation about somebody else that I thought were getting the award, and she actually got up and walked out of the room. So we thought she was mad at us. So at this time, we're going to actually start wrapping up. So if our Veteran of the Year, Birch Fremley, can come up and give the benediction.
Uncover. Let us depart in peace and in love and charity of our neighbors. May we be joined together in the common goal of service of our God and our country. Let us drive safely and carefully to our homes, and may God's blessing be with us all. Amen. Amen. Cover.
Before we end, I'd like to thank a few people. One, I'd like to thank the mayor's staff for helping us put this on today. I'd like to thank all the departments in the town of Braintree for helping us and helping the veterans throughout the year. I'd like to thank the chorus for being here today. I also thank the police and fire union who actually had brought us lunch afterwards. So there's a free lunch out there. So if you see a fireman, policeman, thank them. They do have important jobs, and they're giving back as we give to them. It's just it's a good partnership. So, but before we end, yep. Before we end, I wanted to thank you for taking part of your day to spend with us here in Braintree and support the veterans. I also would like to ask you this time, if you know a veteran who's silently suffering, who could use some help, please give him my card. Tell him to stop by. Mary and I are there for them. We're there to support them and to get them the benefits they deserve and the help that they deserve. So please, if you know somebody, take one of my cards, just give it to them. Come on, tell them to stop by. I'll have a little conversation. You don't know where it's going to go. So but thank you for coming out today. Sergeant at Arms, retired colors.